Welcome to the show, Siraj Hashmi of the Washington Examiner, the curator of The List on Twitter, essentially the owner of the handwriting emoji, if you didn't know already. Siraj, thank you for coming on Hard Factor.
Oh, I appreciate you having me on.
All right, man. I know it's Ramadan, so happy Ramadan. I know you're participating, and I was wondering.
I'm fasting right now.
Oh, you are? So how are you challenging yourself? Is it just fasting, sunrise to sunset, or your additional challenges as well?
So I'm a big, I love listening to pretty much the grimiest hip hop music, specifically 90s hip hop. And, I take a break from that during Ramadan. So like right now, I don't know if you guys are savvy on the hip hop scene, but this group Griselda, I don't know, Conway, West Side Gun, and, Benny the Butcher. They're the group that I listen to the most.
You can tell we're very aware.
Yes, Griselda, yes.
Are those actual grime artists?
They are the one group that I listen to a lot more recently, but because obviously they're basically rapping about selling coke and dealing it. So I usually
sex on top of it. Yeah,
I usually abstain from that during Ramadan.
But what if it was at night? If you just did it at night, maybe. And also, I read that you can't smoke weed during the day during Ramadan. So I would have a hard. It'd be tough.
Yeah, I'm sure a lot of people would have a hard time. You can't smoke cigarettes as well.
Wow.
I abstain from all of it. I just try to spiritually purify myself by not listening or engaging in the things I really enjoy to engage in. So whether it's hip hop music, where I've taken a step back from video games for the most part, and also making music on my own, just doing like some instrumental making, beat making. I try to, because it's all like stuff that is supposed to be like brings you joy, and it's just supposed to remind you what really matters, and try to reaffirm that connection you have to Allah in this case.
Oh, nice.
DJ Siraj. Now, Siraj, forgive this ignorant question about Ramadan. Adderall, okay, not okay? Would really help with the fasting.
Taking medication during your fast breaks your fast. So taking Adderall will break it. Well, yeah, and also
after the sun's down, could you take it?
If I take the Adderall at night, I'm gonna
when the sun's down, I usually take my medication, and I take my daily medications at night. The one thing is, though, when you take medication during the day, you're ingesting something, so that breaks your fast. Right. You also break your fast if you happen to get sick. So, like if you vomit, that breaks your fast.
Oh, wow. It's reversed too.
So, Siraj, I'm going to warn you right now. We're going to, at the end of this podcast, we always play a song, and it's related to something that happened during the show. We're going to probably play a Griselda song. So once we say the end of the show, you might want to tune out after that for the last minute or so of the show.
Watch out.
No, I'll stick around for that. If it's for work, we're good.
No, it'll be in post. Don't worry about it. I'm saying, if you listen back, stop at the last part.
All right.
Siraj,
Has
anyone ever tried to do like a Ramadan like fad diet, like present the Ramadan diet for people that want to lose weight? Because I mean, seems like you lose some weight.
The thing is, for Ramadan, is a lot of people actually end up gaining weight because they don't know how to eat at night. So I focus a lot in the morning on slow burning carbs. And at night, I focus more on protein.
So what time are you getting up then? You got to get up pretty early to eat before the sun.
Yeah, so I've been getting up around 4 o'clock in the morning every morning to eat and drink as much water as I can. And
no water during the day either?
Yeah, I can't drink any water.
Woo.
So
that's you can imagine
You can imagine going on all these. I've been doing. This is my second podcast of the day. I went on a podcast this morning at 11 a.m. and then I do my own podcast as well.
That's hard.
Humble brag, Siraj. Humble brag.
So
we know you're a busy guy.
You can imagine talking this much
would
make me really thirsty.
You definitely have the leg up, like on Lent. It sounds a little harder.
Yeah, the saliva you produce is incredible for no water. You're like a lizard.
Catholic God doesn't give a shit. I mean, maybe he cares. Who knows? You just hope, really, but you just do, and at the end, it usually works out for Catholic.
Yeah, I mean, my grandparents are Catholic, but they don't really do Lent as much anymore, just because they're up.
Right, it's just ordering a fish fillet one day a week. Yeah,
that's an interesting point though on the losing weight, because if you eat a big meal right before bed, that's not good. So
no, it's not.
Yeah,
because your metabolism slows down, so all that stuff that you're putting in, it's not getting broken down.
So you wake up at 4 because where you are, which is in Virginia, right, which is where we all grew up and lived our entire lives before moving to Austin, Texas. It probably gets sunlight around what, like 7:30 a.m.?
So Specifically, it centers around the morning prayer, Fajr,
Okay.
which happens. It's usually right before dawn. So that's the time in which you have to stop drinking and eating, and
that shifts earlier
shifts throughout the year.
towards summer. But what time is that around right now?
like 4:50 right now.
Oh wow, shit. So where are you at in Virginia? Because we all grew up in Herndon and Reston, Virginia.
Are you
So
a Virginia native?
I'm in Fairfax County.
Nice. That's our county. Yeah.
All right, right on.
What town?
Right now, McLean.
Okay.
Ah.
Yeah.
Oh,
They-
for our
yeah.
listeners, that's a nice
Don't be
place.
ashamed.
It's a
Don't
very
be
nice
ashamed.
place.
A lot of district battles with McLean. Yeah.
Nice over there.
Well, they were never really good at sports, but they
No,
they had
were
a
good-
lot of
they-
money though.
Yeah, they were good at housing. They were good at housing.
Yeah. If you want to
Yeah,
find
I mean,
code-
interestingly, my wife, she went to high school only nearby, so the fact that we, kind of settled down here, it's pretty wild. And my parents are actually going to be moving out here from Toledo, Ohio.
So you're from
I'm
Ohio?
I'm not from Toledo. I'm originally from Hartford, Connecticut, and my dad's from Lahore, Pakistan. And so I lived in both places growing up. But since I graduated from high school in Connecticut, my fam has moved to Oklahoma City and then Toledo. Now it's looking like they're all going to come out here.
Joining you in the swamp, huh? Up
And
Yeah.
you work. I mean, you commute. You do work from home, but the Examiner's in Washington D.C. Correct.
That's correct. Yeah, I'm there. Before the pandemic, I was there every day.
Nice.
Nice.
We got a lot of fans of the Examiner. We got to go to D.C. and hang out with the crew there.
Yeah, no, it's a good crowd.
Yeah.
Examiner
Yeah, so-
beers for sure. All right,
Siraj,
so
on that note, yeah, I'm sorry, Will, go ahead.
Move us into some news.
Yeah.
You guys
Well,
got something?
Siraj, can you give us a real top level view? I mean, you said you were the Examiner. Like, what's your literal in and out day to day for our listeners? Like, what's your vibe?
What's my vibe? What's the
You're in and out, your day to day, your main area of focus, your job at the Examiner.
So I have my own podcast titled, and my last name Hashmi. I use obviously a play on my name for the title.
I'm sorry for mispronouncing.
Oh no, that's okay. It makes me sound Japanese. It's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, just another ethnicity for me to claim. It's actually so the name of the podcast is Hashing It Out, and essentially what I do is I invite a guest every week to kind of break down a particular topic.
Hash it out.
The most recent podcast went up on Kim Jong-un and his whereabouts, his disappearance. So I had Rebecca Heinrichs from the Hudson Institute kind of break down what's going on there. But mostly, I am following things online through the list, and that's kind of my own thing. And that's sort of informed how I cover news for the Examiner, because a lot of it is centered on sort of the online discourse of where we're at. And so Tara Reid, the allegations that she's made of sexual misconduct against Joe Biden, the presumptive Democratic nominee, she is going to be the next subject or the subject of my next podcast, just because there's a lot of, I'm sure you have been observing the type of defenses that people are coming up with Joe Biden and comparing that to 2018 when Brett Kavanaugh was accused of sexual assault by 3 different women, the most credible one.
Isn't the defense that he's Democrat? Isn't that the defense?
Yeah, the defense is it's okay when we do it.
Yeah, I thought that was it.
Yeah, no, it's so brazen, and the fact that I'm seeing some members of the media like Kirsten Powers and Simone Sanders, who now actually works for the Biden campaign, but she was previously a CNN contributor, sort of wipe away all their 2018 tweets about Brett Kavanaugh and then saying that there's no double standard here.
Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's wild.
Tweet
So,
well,
Siraj, can you explain what's going on there specifically? Because we haven't gotten into that too much
Sure.
on our show. We talked about Tara Reid, but
Yeah, so specifically, I mean, are you looking from the beginning, like the
just that essentially people are saying, hey, everyone gave Kavanaugh a hard time. People are not going at Biden.
Yeah, I mean, essentially what's happening is you're seeing Joe Biden get up on Morning Joe and defend himself, saying that this didn't happen and it's false. And then you're having a lot of his surrogates, Elizabeth Warren, for example, come out this week saying, I believe Joe Biden. But like 2 months ago, she was getting on de Blasio for pregnancy discrimination, saying on like a post-debate show with Chris Matthews on MSNBC, Why shouldn't I believe this woman who's claiming pregnancy discrimination? You know, it's a real thing. Like, okay, so is sexual assault not a real thing?
Well, now that they forced him to be the candidate, I mean, where can they go? There's nothing left to do. You have to
that's the thing.
It seems like they put all their eggs in the Biden basket.
They did for one, and they've gone down this road so far that they have to keep going. The one thing that I can
walking
see,
off like lemmings at this point.
Yeah, the one thing I could see happen is that there would be a new revelation that would completely undermine everything that Biden has done with respect to the Tara Reid accusation. And I can see it completely backfire on him, and they might even switch him out. This is all like...
Good question, though. Who do you think possibly could switch in?
That's a good one.
A lot of people are talking about Hillary Clinton. And
no, come on. They are.
Yes.
Come on. Honestly, who are those people? Come on.
I can't think of a less likable person to replace Biden with than Hillary Clinton.
Could you imagine Clinton, Trump, too?
You know what? Like, I don't even want that for Hillary Clinton, to be honest. That's not fair to her. It's going to be bad.
No,
it's not fair to Bill.
It's not fair to anyone. It's not fair to America.
Yeah,
Most importantly, right?
Yeah. But at the same time, we kind of deserve it, don't we?
Yes, 2020. It's like the perfect like what we got every month. There's been something horrible. Like this month was murder hornets.
The murder hornets are the harbinger of Clinton,
June,
Trump too.
Yeah, June Hillary Clinton would be like the perfect like next fuck you to America and to the world.
100%.
Yeah.
And like that's the thing is like we're not even halfway into the year, and this year has been insane. I can't even imagine how kooky this year is about to get in the second half.
Yeah,
that's very true.
I got a Biden take, and this is a legit take. And I was thinking about this last night. All right, so theoretically, people are getting pissed because Kavanaugh got the third degree, right? And then Biden is not getting the third degree. Man, we already have in the White House currently a prolific alleged sexual assaulter as president. We have potentially a sexual assaulter as president as his challenger. Is it not different in some respects for a Supreme Court justice, honestly, to be held to slightly higher standard in terms of their conduct than the president? Like, it almost matters more for a Supreme Court justice based upon like how that affects law, legislation, and the future of our country to be more morally sound, so to speak, than honestly our president.
You're saying Kavanaugh shouldn't have been approved by the Senate?
We've had a lot of dogs in office. No, I'm saying like what I'm saying is the stringency in which we examine our Supreme Court justices should be greater in some respects in terms of behavior than our president.
The president? I mean, that's...
Well, other countries, their presidents can do this no problem. I mean, it's like okay to have affairs and all this. In some other countries,
right? So wouldn't you want your judges to be more morally sound of any elected official?
I
hear what you're saying.
I mean, that's a good point you bring up. I would say that if anything, the United States has become more European because of how we just let
a lot of hats. We're wearing a lot of hats.
Sexual assaulters, take higher office.
Whatever, right.
I would say, I guess that's the thing is we haven't set a standard for what that should be. If we should hold Supreme Court justices or prospective justices to a higher standard than the President of the United States. And the reason I think that people might hold the President of the United States higher is because they're more out in the open. They are the leader of the free world. Supreme Court justice is one of 9 lifetime appointments. And the thing is with Brett Kavanaugh, if you look at the actual facts of the case, there is immeasurably more corroboration with Joe Biden's accuser, with Tara Reid, than there was with Christine Blasey Ford.
And it's much more recent. So I would say that in that case, the Supreme Court justice was held to an incredibly high standard. I mean, that was a high school case.
If you wanted to make a case against Brett Kavanaugh, you could probably make it that it was weird of him to have a calendar from like the summer of 1982. Well,
look, it's really weird to get to the point where you're a Supreme Court justice nominee. I mean, like that's to get there, you got to be a real bizarre fucker.
Well,
so for me, it's not that weird.
I think anybody who actively seeks a life in the public life or in the public sphere, I think there's something fundamentally wrong with that.
Oh yeah, you got to be a fucked up person to want to be a politician in the first place.
I stumbled into this. I had no idea.
Yeah, right. You stumbled onto the McLaughlin group. But by the way,
to that point,
did they try to drink your blood when you got on there? Did they go after your plasma?
They should have. I mean, my Muslim plasma definitely it
Yeah, bro, you're like a blood bag,
especially during Ramadan.
Specifically, when you think of presidents, like they're the CEOs of CEOs, and there's a lot of research that goes into like traits of CEOs and like how you become a CEO. Like historically, if you look at a lot of the presidents, Democrat and Republican, there's a lot of alleged sexual assaults or sexual misconduct. Like I think to become the president, you got to have a screw loose to begin with.
Yeah, it's the coming everywhere overlord.
And you got
CEO.
all this power.
They fuck when they want, when
exactly.
who they
like
want.
it's almost like if you say no to them, that's not a good idea.
No,
I mean, look, in the age of social media, like anybody can become famous, right? Like you got the Instagram thoughts and the memers, and you got the people on Twitter who are basically outraged at everything and everything. You got the grifters who are basically selling outrage for money, and essentially all these people have just figured out these different. Everyone's figured out a different path to success in the realm of like fame and notoriety, and you got to keep your head on the swivel and realize that a lot of these people aren't in it for the right reasons.
Yeah,
and I think that's part of the reason why I at least felt in part, not to bring up the list, but that's kind of why the list exists, is because like people need to be called out on this stuff, whether they on the left and right,
for shameless hypocrisy, basically.
Yeah, shameless hypocrisy, shameless promoting, like and like you're seeing it more and more, specifically with this Tara Reid stuff. But obviously, like it happens to different degrees every day.
I got a question on that. So speaking of that, how you can't always tell where people are coming from. Do you think it's odd that most news outlets in 2020 are basically in different spots on the political spectrum, in America at least? Or is that just what's bound to happen with like a free market system?
I mean, that's tough to say, really, because a lot of news outlets, I think, have been called out on their biases because social media and the internet are just right at your fingertips. And you can immediately find where the consistency is for some of these news organizations. For example, I mean, just in the last few weeks since the pandemic started, you saw this one video of a nurse complaining about not being given a face mask while treating coronavirus patients.
Right.
And CBS News tweeted out this video
basically
without having fleshed out anything of it. They didn't even write a story on it. And basically this got viral. Even Bernie Sanders acknowledged it when he was still in the race. And then it turned out that her story wasn't factually accurate. She embellished it. She was given one mask, which is better than zero. Obviously, one mask isn't great for an entire week, because my brother-in-law, who's in Long Island, he's a radiation oncology resident. He was basically conscripted to treat coronavirus patients, and they only gave him one mask for the entire week. 2 girls, they were only given that one cup. They made do.
That's true. That's true.
You got to make do, yeah.
Now the mask, depending on the mask, like I have a couple of you have to like put them in the washing machine. Some of them, like if they're disposable,
if they're cloth,
you have to wash them. Yeah.
Siraj, but that's a great point. What Will brought up, like, so you work for the Examiner, right? Which is like notably and publicly a conservative news outlet, right? Then if you look at after Bezos bought the Washington Post, even more so, people consider that to be
Huffington Post. I would say,
of course. I mean, just all of them have their spots.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all catering to a specific audience that are on that part of the spectrum politically, and that's just what we've ended up with.
Yeah, how did that happen? Whatever happened to good old fashioned?
I think it was just the money and the fact that the parties play a large role in influencing what goes into those outlets. I don't know. But
what's interesting, though, is that news used to be a lot faker than it is now. I mean,
because there was no fact checking,
no internet,
exactly.
no internet, like
no
you were
fact
saying.
checking.
Yeah, there's no fact checking. Yeah.
There would be one person there'd be a reporter who witnessed one thing, and there'd be no one to be like, oh, we can't dispute this because there's no one else to fact check it.
Yeah, so you just have to be confident. That's it.
Yeah, you'd have to take their word for it.
Yeah.
But also, there was a time when we used to believe everything that the government told us, and that was pre-Vietnam War. Yeah. Once the Pentagon Papers came out, that whole fabric of trusting whatever the government tells us completely eroded away.
Hopefully, aliens are next. That's all.
Yeah, we all just watched. We all just watched that documentary on aliens.
By the way, wasn't it only last week that the Pentagon said, "Yeah, we got UFOs"?
What was up with that?
And no one cares.
Yeah.
They
That
did
was
the
a
Jordan
Jordan
shrug
phase.
afterwards.
That was interesting timing. Yeah, they did the MJ shrug. Like,
That's where we're at right now. Hey, Siraj, so the list, right? That's your thing. How does it work for people that don't know the list? Like, what's the vibe?
So
on
the
it?
list, it started off as a power ranking of people who need their phones taken away, and it was it initially started when George it started in December of 2019, right after Thanksgiving. George Conway quote tweeted his wife Kellyanne Conway, who is a advisor to the President Trump.
That's not all she is.
So Kellyanne tweeted something about how Joe Biden needed help from the Ukrainian government to sort of help him with an election or something like that. And then George Conway quote tweets her saying, apparently your boss did. And it was just like, why are you putting this out in the public sphere? Like, you got to give me that phone right away.
The
like,
two of them
stop.
together
spat
are
with
just,
his wife on Twitter. Yeah, not
Exactly.
cool.
Yeah.
It's out of control. The two of them back and
Out
forth.
of
Someone didn't
control.
do their chores that day.
So he was the first number one, and I just started like it was a continuing thing. So I had like Trump, who got bumped down from number one to number two. I was on the list, and then I had like Charlie Kirk.
Has BNN ever made the list? Have we
Who's
come
that?
close? Barstool
News Network?
Have we come close to making the list ever?
Not exactly, because I feel like the only people who really make it are the ones who know are genuinely serious with their takes.
We'd have to actually care about something if we.
I could see Dave. I could see Dave potentially making it if I didn't know he was such a that he's a troll. But like I'm a troll too. So like when people
it's got to be genuine,
and also
it's got to be genuine shittiness.
Exactly. So like for example. Bill de Blasio's tweet last week to the Jewish community saying that, like, he was going to arrest all of them. Like, that was legitimately bad, and like I don't think he fleshed that thing out at all with his advisors.
No, that's a list. So
Where's OJ on that list?
And then like Lisa Bloom, who was actually
has OJ made your list?
OJ, oh man.
Well, it's different when the state could legally take his phone away. That's different.
With OJ, OJ's a different story because he hasn't done anything exactly on it that would warrant it. Well, like he has been under consideration, but I don't know if he actually made the list.
Disagreement when he said, I think it was about Carol Baskin. He's like, she definitely killed her husband or something like that was list warrant. He accused someone else of murder.
Somebody who would know, right?
You know, I saw that same tweet from a fake OJ account, and this is the thing.
Maybe that was it. Maybe that was it.
And that's the thing. I almost put him on the list, and then I was like, whoa, that's not OJ's real account.
You could easily get caught into doing a fake one, though. Yeah.
I think he did one about Antonio Brown recently. That was when he accuses someone of committing a crime. To me, that's list worthy.
They are fake accounts, but he also runs them, which is it's tough.
I agree. Here, hold on 1 second. Let me just start the recording on my camera one more time.
Okay.
Sure.
And we don't have to worry.
We pushed to the
limit. Any what other topics do you guys want to hit?
All right, I'm just clapping in for. All right, I'm good.
Okay, Siraj, are you a Trump guy?
You know, I am ambivalent towards him. I try to cover him as objectively as possible. I wouldn't say I'm a supporter of any one particular president.
I'm not a Biden guy either. I hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't like. The thing is that when you cover politics, the first lesson you gotta learn is that everyone is a hypocrite, and I support ideas more than I support people. Yeah. And I think there are some things that Trump has done that are good, but by and large, I think there are things that when we look back on the Trump presidency, I think people will find that it was a very chaotic time. But I can't see any news organization saying, wow, we really killed it in terms of like how much money we made.
So what you're saying is you have a small group of friends that you talk highly of Trump with, but then other people know.
Well, no, it's not like that. I mean, like I am impressionable in the sense that like I will listen to what other people have to say about him, and that sort of informs my opinion about him. I don't think Look, I think George W. Bush was the worst president of my lifetime. So, like the bar is pretty low in terms of.
That's we haven't had a ton of extremely great ones to be excited about.
Like
recently.
I was very hopeful that Obama wouldn't be such a disappointment, and he ended up being one. So, like it was, I was a lifelong Democrat before I sort of got into the media sphere, and I became more independent. So
right. So that's a great question. Like, what do you think's going to happen with our two-party political system? Right? It's like there's so many people that are dissatisfied with the system as it is, and we're living in a hyper-information age, right? Where it's like it's very different when to pre-internet and pre-smartphone in your hand, where it's like, these are the options, you're gonna have to take them. Do you feel like a sea change might be coming? Do you feel like there's potentially innovation in our political system because so many people can talk to each other and it's not so black and white that you're left or right?
I think what's going to happen is you're going to see people. You're not going to see a breakdown of the two-party system. I think that will be a consistent thing.
Not unless
what
they change
is
like
happen,
campaign finance rules, but yeah.
Or the wigs
maybe.
come back.
I mean, the thing is, I don't think campaign finance rules are going to change much. But I will say
third party will never win. You just take away a small percentage from the two big parties. That's why the two big parties are always going to be there, because you have to have like 30 parties and 10% of the vote, and 10% of the vote would win.
I mean, you'd have to shift more into a pure democracy, a parliamentary system in which like that actually gets recognized and you form coalition governments. That's just not going to happen in our system. It's a representative democracy, or a constitutional republic, I should say.
Hey, Siraj, let's change topics real quick. Let's go back to Kim Jong-un. I know you're kind of let's talk about that a little bit. Have you heard about what he's maybe been up to with the pleasure squad and that whole squad?
Now that guy would not do well in Ramadan.
That thick boy, he would not do well.
Never heard of it.
My favorite is when he and Trump get together. It's just two thick boys having the time of their
and
lives.
Rodman. I mean, Rodman's in there too. I mean, it's incredible.
The one slim boy.
Yeah.
They're just having Rodman dunk for him. Yeah.
The thing with Kim Jong-un is that he was likely at one of his resorts on the coast region, hiding from coronavirus, because from what I have heard is that North Korea has just been run rampant with coronavirus. And you've even seen reports in which some of North Korean officials would shoot their coronavirus patients so that they would no longer have any coronavirus cases. It's
better paperwork, you know.
Yeah, seriously, obviously it's so horrible and so wrong, but like it's laughable how like North Korea is even being taken seriously. And this is one of the dings that you can make against President Trump, is like, why would he give a country like that any legitimacy or credibility by acknowledging them or even meeting with them? And so far what we've seen right now, North Korea isn't anywhere closer to denuclearization than we were 2 years ago.
No, they got caught lying. They got caught red-handed lying about getting rid of the bases.
He'll shoot a rocket tomorrow. Yeah, he doesn't care.
Yeah, but we kind of know that they'll never get there. That for me is the fun part about North Korea. It's just they're always going to get close.
Don't say that type of shit in 2020, man.
They're going to hit a lot of things over there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's jinxing it for the most part, right?
Yeah. Don't say that.
Who cares? It is 2020.
I guess there's an argument. Sorry, go ahead.
I've always predicted we were all going to die in 2020 anyways. So
that's pretty good.
The Farmer's Almanac just stopped. The weather was like just no weather in 2020. They just stopped.
It's terrible. Yeah. But on the bright side, at least global warming stopped, right, guys?
That's true. If we're all dead, who cares? We did reverse climate change by like 20 years or something, right? By just staying inside.
Yeah. So that means China just needs to release a few more viruses, and we could just get right into that cold snap.
Yeah.
That's true. Maybe we could avoid like the impending apocalypse if we just.
The coral reefs are coming back.
If we just Thanos ourselves.
Nature is healing.
Hey, Siraj, I got a question about some of your media appearances.
Sure.
What kind of local tale does an appearance on C-SPAN get you before you're married? I mean. Is it like your crush from high school, like Model UN style? Like when you go on C-SPAN, you get a text from certain like older, ladies from your past that are nerds, being like, "Yeah, Siraj, watching him on C-SPAN."
Experience, it's all been moms, middle-aged moms, and gay guys.
And what?
Like your friends' moms?
Guys.
Oh, okay.
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 That's the type of attention I'm getting right now. It could be different for any particular person.
What about
none of us get any attention at all through our show. So
ours aren't sexual. It's usually fat white guys that want to hang out with us.
Can you eat something for me on camera
and drink with us, which is fine. What about politicians? What about Ilhan Omar? Anything going on there?
Oh my God!
Right? Yeah. Ooh.
So for those who don't know about the Ilhan Omar thing, I actually came to her defense when she quote tweeted something about coronavirus statistics and it being bad, and she said "Subhanallah," and then a bunch of right-wing accounts were getting on her for saying, we're basically trying to translate "Subhanallah" as something as positive meaning, when really in this context it means "good God." It's like, just reacting with that type of immediate phrase, and she retweeted that. Didn't see that coming, and then since I had her attention, I asked her about like a specific Quranic verse that was a little bit on the fence for me as a practicing Muslim. And then she hit me with the writing hand emojis, and then like everything just like blew out of proportion. Everybody was just like, "Oh my God, Ilhan Omar dunked on you so hard." I'm like, I got no response. I did invite her to come onto my podcast, and she didn't.
She didn't
accept.
Oh, come on!
No,
After
so-
a dust
she's a
up like
coward.
that on Twitter.
Yeah, inshallah, one day.
Yeah, she'll get you. I mean, you'll get her one day. It's all good.
I mean, I am a married man, so I'm worried about that.
Right. It's a
Right.
different list.
That's what I was saying. You know, she's keeping an open mind. Like there's,
Rumor has it.
you got a chance.
Let's not
probably.
perpetuate potential conspiracy theories.
Right. So I see that you have your YouTube channel. That's where people can find you outside of the pages of the Washington Examiner. Anything else that where our listeners should find you, Siraj?
I mean, Twitter and YouTube are the two main things. I've been dabbling a lot in a lot of different things since the pandemic started, and so I do this one show with Dr. Jason Nichols. He gets on Fox a lot. We do this show called The Balance. You can find that on YouTube. And then on Wednesday nights, 10 p.m. East, 7 p.m. Pacific time, I got my boy Jay Kobe, Mujahid Kobe. For those who are not familiar with him, he is the one person on Twitter who cannot die on Twitter after having like 12 suspended accounts.
You're talking about
He's Teflon.
He and I are similar in the sense that we're both halfies. He's half Lebanese, half American. I'm half Pakistani, half American. And we just sort of we call it the Habibi Power Hour, and we just talk about.
And that's
Siraj,
why I
I
thought your
got
name
beef
was
with you here.
Hashimi. I think Habibi Hashimi crossed in my
Habibi
head.
Hashimi.
Siraj, I got to call you out, brother. I watched the Habibi Power Hour last night, or at least I watched one of the episodes. It is Ramadan, but there's no beer there, brother, and you're not taking a shot of anything once a minute, which I do not. You're misusing the term power hour, and I'd like you to figure out something that you can take every 60 seconds on your show, be it information,
A breath of air.
a breath of air,
I see what you're
aggressively,
saying. I see what you're saying.
marijuana, whatever.
I'm
After
gonna-
Ramadan, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm gonna see what I can do about that.
Okay, thank you. It's just we just take those really seriously.
We
We've
do
hurt
take it
ourselves.
seriously. Yeah,
You got to do
seriously.
something ridiculous every minute.
We've hurt ourselves pretty bad there with those.
One of my last questions here. When should we open the economy? What's going on with this pandemic? Are people being stupid with the protests? Like, what's your take on the
Look,
pandemic?
I think everybody's being stupid, and I would say the one indicator you got to look at is decreased hospitalizations of coronavirus patients over a 14-day period, or 2 weeks, obviously. And the reason why you look towards that and not death numbers, because you can't really predict how people's conditions are going to go once they have it. But to actually get a sense of the spread of the virus, decreased hospitalizations is key here, and it's got to be consistent. I don't know, honestly, what the right move is here, because Florida and Georgia are doing their own thing, reopening their economies. We'll see after a 2-week period how it goes, because if it ends up being
do you put
a rise.
a little bit of the onus here on Kemp? I mean, because he was kind of the first domino to fall.
Yeah. Kemp, if this goes south, Kemp is getting all the blame for it.
Yeah,
but it'll definitely extend towards Trump, because I think Trump has obviously been pushing for the economy to reopen in different phases, and reopening in phases is good. I think, in like New York with Governor Andrew Cuomo, or Michigan with Gretchen Whitmer, or California with Gavin Newsom, I think they've almost been crippled with fear to reopen,
right,
because their cases have been so bad, specifically New York and Michigan. Can't really say the same for California because it's obviously so populous. Right. But if you look at New York, they're trying to apply their model to the rest of the country, and they've been sort of forcing that on, say, like Middle America.
Well, it should be localized even within the state. You gotta handle this thing appropriately.
The South,
but there also needs to be unity.
The South is getting a lot of shit, obviously, for reopening. But the protests and the American people are getting mad everywhere, in Michigan and all over the place. In California, everyone's going to the beaches. They reopened the beaches and stuff. So like, it's not just the South. But one particular thing I think that should come down on Kemp if things go south in Georgia, which I fucking hope they don't, is the fact that he claimed in a press conference he didn't know that people could be like asymptomatic and spread it like in like fucking
that was
April,
so bad.
which that is not acceptable. Period. Like that was common knowledge for like 6 weeks. You can't be saying that.
His capital is at the CDC.
Yeah, that's fucking ridiculous. I
mean,
but
what you don't realize, Mark, is that fucking quarantine has been like a goddamn field day for high school students and premarital sex, and he's just been at his house with his shotgun, having to defend his daughter.
Fair enough.
And bro, like you don't know how much time that takes. A lot of time, energy, and effort. It's mentally.
They'll do anything to get that over with. Yeah, I get that.
But the thing is, it's just not. I mean, like they're going to assign blame to people on the right, but people on the left have been doing it just as worse. I mean, Chris Cuomo from CNN breaking quarantine while he had coronavirus to go see a house in the Hamptons. Like, come on, get the hell out of here, bro.
It's not. It shouldn't be a political
super
thing.
Competitive market.
It shouldn't be a political thing outside of like the isolated cases like Brian Kemp's that are doing it first and saying stupid shit.
And the other side too.
The Americans,
other side too of that, the anti-Kemps are the people being like, well, now the projection's back at 3 million dead, and we're going to be locked up till 2025. I mean, like it's just like
people saying, these people are rooting for death, and people saying, both sides are very frustrating during this whole quarantine thing.
The thing is, the pandemic has played to people's worst impulses and fears. And the reason why I had to stop doing the list daily and made it weekly is because it was killing me doing every single day of all these bad takes. Right. And I am draining myself, and I could feel my brain melting because people there's no filter anymore. And when people get out of work, they no longer have to worry about, say, their employer getting on them. So they'll just tweet anything.
Drink it during the day.
Yeah, exactly. It's double. It's not only is it depressing to deal with that, but your list could have just been infinite. Like
and that's the thing is I have made it longer than there was one time I decided to do a monthly, like a cap of the entire month. That took me 2 days to make.
Was that the March Madness thing?
No, the March. Although I am thinking about bringing that back and doing that once a month, just because.
Do that.
And also not making it person, but attach the specific tweet to it.
There you go. I like that. A bracket for dumbest tweet, craziest tweet. Yeah.
Siraj, I do have to ask you. You said there's if you're watching on YouTube, there's like a room divider behind you, and that's from a hand job parlor, right? There's no way that's not from a hand job parlor. Not that I've been to one.
Buy it from Robert Kraft.
I'm going to say no comment. I'm saying it's more for my dog, Ernie, who needs privacy when he humps his giant teddy bear.
Oh, yeah. There you go. Big Ern. Did we talk about Ernie?
You should disinfect that.
Where is Ern? Is Ern in the room with you?
Ern's not in the room. I can go grab him if you want.
Go grab Ern.
Can we make an Ern appearance?
Yeah, hold on.
Before we hang up.
Yeah. You got anything else you want to ask Wes or anyone?
No.
I've gone through my whole list.
On all the points, yeah. We could ask him about Patreon, but he kind of went over his YouTube, so I think we're good.
Sweet. All right, then after the dog, Will, do you want to close it up?
Yeah.
Sweet Ern.
Little Ern, but Big Ern.
But you got to call him
Chihuahua
Big Ern. Anybody named Ern.
I think Chihuahua.
You have to call him Big Ern.
That's true.
Yeah. Big Ern McCracken.
Finally,
you cannot
Big Ern's
call
above the
anybody
law.
named Ern.
Yeah, there was pressure. I didn't want to lose to. I didn't want to lose to a guy with a hook.
All right,
look at medium Ern coming through here.
All right, Ern.
Hold on, Ernie. Come on. Oh, I got to get these in. Oh,
there he is.
Ernie.
That looks like a tough dog.
I can't hear them. Come on. Hold on. All right, there we go.
Thank you.
To say that looks like a tough dog, Siraj.
Yeah,
what kind of dog is that?
He is a long-haired Chihuahua.
Nice. Is he named after Big Ern McCracken from Kingpin?
That's what we were joking about while you were gone. Big Ern.
I can't say that he was named after Big Ern McCracken. My wife named him when we got him back in 2012. Despite his look, he's actually kind of an old curmudgeon man.
No, he looks old as shit. I was about to say you look to be like,
Come on.
like 33. I'm just guessing like that's a fucking old dog for you, bro.
He looks well fed, but
He's definitely well fed.
Does he abide by Ramadan sleep hours, or is he waking up?
He sleeps all hours of the day, so it doesn't matter.
That's
But
good.
He's eating.
I
and
actually
drinking
stole
all
him
day.
away from snack time, so
Nice.
I'm gonna have to
Sorry,
bring
Aaron.
It's okay, Aaron. They said they're sorry.
Yeah, don't blame us, Ern. Well, Siraj, thank you and Ern both for coming on the show, man. We should do it again sometime.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. Looking forward to doing it again.
Yeah.
Later, buddy.
sweet.
Thanks, guys.